The Galactic Council Hall was a cathedral of glass and light, hanging in orbit above a dying red dwarf star. The chamber stretched for miles, its walls alive with shifting constellations, every glimmer a real-time projection of the galaxy beyond. Alien delegates from hundreds of worlds sat in tiers like an ocean of colors and shapes scaled, furred, feathered, metallic-ish species watching with unblinking focus. At the center, beneath a dome of shimmering energy, the High Speaker of the Council rose from her crystalline throne. Her voice, though soft, carried across the vast space like a wave through water. "We are here to decide the fate of the Terran species." The air was thick with tension. For decades, humans had been a growing problem in the orderly galactic system, expanding too quickly, refusing to obey trade limits, colonizing dangerous worlds, even dismantling abandoned alien war machines that were supposed to remain untouched. They were unpredictable, impossible to control, and most dangerously, unafraid. One insectoid delegate clicked its mandibles and spoke sharply. "They are too dangerous to be left alone. They should be disarmed, placed under supervision." A reptilian general bared his teeth, voice dripping with contempt. "Supervision is not enough. Earth must surrender entirely or be erased." Murmurs filled the chamber. Many agreed. Only a handful of voices suggested restraint, warning that humans were more resourceful than they seemed. But those voices were drowned beneath the tide of fear and anger. The High Speaker lifted her hand, and the hall fell silent. "It is decided. The humans will be given one final chance to submit peacefully. They will surrender all weapons, all warships, and all advanced technology to the Council within one rotation. If they refuse, we will deploy the full strength of the Alliance fleet." The words rippled through the chamber like a verdict from a god. There was no applause, only the quiet hum of finality. A massive hologram of Earth appeared in the center of the chamber, its blue oceans and swirling clouds glowing with innocent beauty. A Council envoy ship was prepared at once to carry the ultimatum, light years away. In the dark orbit of Mars, the Human Defense Network intercepted the incoming message before the envoy even crossed the outer solar system. In a fortified bunker, beneath the icy plains, Earth's leaders gathered in a war council. The chamber was smaller, harsher bare metal walls, screens showing fleet positions, and a low hum of generators. President Elijah Ward sat at the head of the table, his face carved from years of political storms. Generals, scientists, and admirals surrounded him, their eyes locked on the glowing projection of the Council's ultimatum. The alien demand was simple: surrender or die. Ward read it once, twice, then leaned back in his chair. The silence was heavy, waiting for his response. Finally, a thin smile broke across his face. "They think we're afraid." Around the table, a low chuckle rose, then full laughter, sharp, almost defiant. It wasn't bravado. It was the laugh of a people who had faced extinction before and survived. "Send them our answer," Ward said. The answer was only one sentence: Earth does not surrender. The envoy ship reached Earth orbit 2 days later, expecting fear. Instead, they found the skies above the planet busy. Hundreds of massive structures were being assembled in orbit, black, angular platforms the size of cities, linked by glowing bridges of energy. Strange shapes moved among them, ships unlike anything in the Council's databases. The envoy tried to scan them, but the readings came back scrambled, as if the ships didn't exist in normal space. From the moment they entered orbit, their communications were intercepted. They were allowed to send their warning, but no reply came. The alien envoy captain, a tall, silver-skinned diplomat, stood at the viewport of her ship, staring at the growing human structures. They were too vast to be simple weapons, too strange to be civilian. The humans were building something the Council had never seen before. Back in the Council Hall, the envoy's report caused immediate uproar. The High Speaker called for calm, but the delegates were already shouting over each other accusations, warnings, demands for immediate action. In the chaos, one quiet voice spoke, a small, fox-like alien historian. "If humans are laughing in the face of annihilation, it is not because they are foolish. It is because they are ready." Far beyond the Council's reach, hidden in the shadow of Saturn's rings, A ship the size of a mountain drifted silently. Its black hull absorbed all light, its surface etched with patterns older than human history. Inside, a voice spoke to the darkness. Phase 1 is complete. Phase 2 begins when they attack. The trap was already set, and the galaxy didn't know it. The Galactic Council's fleet moved like a wall of steel and fire through the black sea of space. Thousands of warships, sleek spearhead destroyers, colossal carrier platforms, and swarms of automated drones stretched across the void, blotting out the stars in their path. Their engines burned with blue-white fury, cutting through the darkness toward the small blue-green planet that had dared to laugh at their ultimatum. In the lead ship's command deck, Admiral Shathker, a towering reptilian warrior clad in ceremonial armor, watched the tactical display with cold satisfaction. "One decisive strike," he said to his officers, "will crush their defenses before they even realize we have arrived. Earth will kneel within the hour." The fleet emerged at the edge of the solar system. Their plan was to sweep inward, destroy any resistance, and seize the orbital platforms before humanity could mount a counterattack. But within moments of arrival, the unexpected happened. Every single Council ship's sensors began to fail. The stars flickered on their displays, readings turned to static, and navigational markers disappeared. "This is impossible," Shathka growled. "The humans don't have this kind of technology." His science officer's voice trembled. "Admiral, the interference is not random. It's targeting us." Somewhere ahead in the cold shadow of Neptune, an unmarked human vessel drifted silently. It was small compared to the massive alien armada, no bigger than a corvette. But its hull was bristling with strange rotating dishes and needle-like towers. Inside, a young human engineer tapped a series of glowing controls, smiling faintly, as alien fleet data poured across his screens. "Jamming field stable," he reported. "Their targeting is blind. They won't even see us coming." The Council fleet pressed on, but as they neared Saturn, they began losing ships not from open battle, but from strange, precise strikes. Entire destroyers would vanish in a flash, torn apart by weapons that left no energy signature. Drones, meant to scout ahead, returned shredded, their black boxes wiped clean. The Council commanders were baffled. "How are they doing this?" one officer demanded. Shathkar's jaw tightened. "They're hiding somewhere, but where?" The answer came too late. From behind Saturn's rings, massive black shapes began to emerge human warships, but nothing like the outdated craft the Council's intelligence had shown. These were jagged, angular predators, their hulls painted with a deep matte that swallowed starlight. Their engines burned dim, almost invisible, and they moved with a speed that should have been impossible for ships of their size. Leading them was a vessel so vast it dwarfed even the largest Council carriers. Its name blazed in white letters across its hull, HMS Resolute. The human fleet did not announce itself. There's no speeches, no warnings. They simply opened fire. The first volley was devastating. Weapons the Council had never seen before: kinetic lances that punched through shields as if they were air, gravity warheads that crushed entire squadrons into nothing, and something far worse, a weapon that seemed to reach into a ship's systems and turn them against their own crew. Council ships began to break formation in panic as the human assault ripped through their front line. In the command center of the Resolute, Admiral Helena Vance stood calm, hands clasped behind her back, as her officers executed their plan with machine precision. "Phase 2, she ordered. Across the fleet, smaller strike craft swarmed out, darting between the alien ships with impossible agility, planting mines that detonated in controlled shock waves, crippling enemy engines but leaving the ships intact. "Why aren't we destroying them?" a young lieutenant asked. Vance's voice was steady. "We're sending a message. Can destroy them, but we don't have to." The message was received. Shathkar's fleet, once a wall of unstoppable force, was now scattered and bleeding. His ships were trapped, engines dead, weapons offline, their crews staring in disbelief at the quiet, waiting human warships surrounding them. Vance's voice came through on all Council channels. "You came to demand our surrender. Now, We'll go home and tell your council that we are not afraid of them. And next time, if you come for us, there will be no survivors." The council fleet limped back across the void, humiliated. But in the Galactic Council Hall, the reaction was not what humans expected. The defeat only fueled the fire. Plans for a larger, total invasion began immediately, and far beneath Earth's surface. In a hidden city of steel and shadow, humanity was already preparing for it. The Galactic Council's revenge fleet was unlike anything the galaxy had seen in centuries. It was not merely a force, it was an empire's full wrath made manifest. 42 battle carriers, each the size of a city, escorted by hundreds of destroyers, frigates, and automated hunter-killers. Colossal dreadnoughts, bristling with weapons capable of scouring the surface of an Earth-sized planet in minutes, moved at the center of the formation like steel gods. Around them, shielded transport leviathans carried over 1 million elite soldiers from dozens of alien species, each sworn to wipe humanity from existence. Inside the Council's war chamber, the alien delegates watched the live broadcast of the fleet's departure. The chamber buzzed with confidence and fury. "They humiliated us once," said Councillor Vrionic of the Utari, his voice a low rumble. "But this time they will be reduced to ash. We will erase them so completely that the galaxy will forget they ever existed." Murmurs of agreement rolled through the hall. The Council believed this would be the war to end all human defiance. But on Earth, no one was laughing now. The United Earth's defense network had monitored the enemy's buildup for weeks. On the walls of a hidden command facility buried under the Rockies, giant screens displayed the fleet's trajectory. The air was tense. General Marcus Hale, a broad-shouldered veteran with ice-blue eyes, stood at the head of the war table. "There. Throwing everything they have at us," he said, his voice grim. "If they reach orbit, we won't be able to hold them off for long. This will be decided in space." Admiral Helena Vance, fresh from her victory against Shathkar, his failed assault, leaned forward. "Then we don't wait for them to come to us." Her words drew quiet glances. Aggressive defense was one thing, but Vance was proposing something else entirely. "We hit them in deep space, far from Earth. And this time, we show them the weapon they don't even know we have." She was speaking of Project Black Horizon. No one in the room spoke for several seconds. The project had been whispered about. For years, even within the highest levels of military command, it was said to be a fleet of ships unlike anything humanity or the galaxy had ever seen. Not built in orbital shipyards, but in the dead silence of interstellar space. Not bound by known physics, but powered by something far older and far more dangerous. Vance turned to Hale. "They'll come expecting us to fight like we did. Last time, predictable tactics. They'll think they've adapted. But Black Horizon isn't about fighting ferrets, about ending the fight before it starts." Days later, the Council's revenge fleet reached the halfway point between their homeworlds and Earth. They were still 2 weeks from the Sol system when the first signs appeared, massive gravitational distortions like invisible waves rolling through the void. Navigation systems faltered, communications broke into static. The alien admirals assumed it was a natural anomaly, but then shadows appeared. At first they looked like faint smudges against the starfield, but they grew shapes of black. Metal, vast and silent, emerging from folds in space itself. There was no heat signature, no engine trail, no radiation. Only the oppressive weight of their presence. The largest of them was so huge it blotted out an entire constellation from the Council fleet's view. The alien flagships tried to scan them. Man failed. Whatever these things were, they seemed to exist half outside of normal space-time. Then a single human voice broke through every channel at once, calm and cold. "This is Black Horizon Command. You are trespassing in restricted space. Leave now or be removed." The Council admirals laughed. The order was given to fire. That was their last mistake. The Black Horizon fleet moved. Not forward, not in any way the aliens could understand. They simply appeared inside the Council formation, as if the distance between here and there had never existed. Their weapons were silent beams of darkness, each hit swallowing ships whole without explosion, without debris, Gone. It was like erasing ships from reality itself. Panic erupted. The aliens fired everything they had, but their weapons seemed to bend away. Shots vanishing into strange, twisting pockets of space. Entire squadrons disappeared in seconds. Dreadnoughts fell into silent, spinning oblivion. And all the while, the human ships advanced without a single scratch within 15 minutes. The largest invasion fleet in galactic history had been reduced to scattered survivors fleeing into the dark. No pursuit was given, no prisoners taken. Only one message was transmitted back to the Galactic Council. We told you not to come back. The galaxy would never be the same after Black Horizon revealed itself. Yet, this was only the beginning. Galactic Council's surviving admirals returned in disgrace. Now the war chamber, usually a place of arrogance and control, felt colder nauts. Towering walls of silver and obsidian seemed to lean inward, as if even the architecture wanted to. Hear the answers. Counselor Vrianik's voice cut the air like a blade. Explain to me, he snarled at the trembling Dothri fleet commander. How 42 of our most advanced carriers vanished in under 15 minutes. Explain how your weapons miss. Every shot, every missile, every beam while theirs never failed. The alien commander's throat swelled and flattened nervously. They were not ships, Counselor. They were something else. They bent the void. They swallowed space around us. Technology stolen from the Karn vaults, suggested one council member. No, the commander replied, shaking his head slowly. We scanned. There was no match in the entire galactic archive. It was as if these vessels came from before our archives began. The chamber went still. That was impossible. The archive stretched back over 2 million years, cataloging every major civilization's history. For something to exist outside of that meant only one thing. It was older than recorded galactic history itself. But who could have given such a weapon to humans? The question hung unspoken until Elder Counselor Shathker, his withered scales glittering under the pale light, finally spoke. We all know the story told to hatchlings, he rasped. The story of the first builders, the ancient race that shaped the galaxy, seeded the stars, and vanished without a trace. We dismissed it as myth, but what if it was not? They left guardians. The other counselors shifted uncomfortably. Ancient myths were for the uneducated, not the ruling elite. And yet, the thought of a hidden, untouched relic of the first builders was enough to unsettle even the most arrogant among them. Vryanik leaned forward, his eyes narrowing. You're suggesting these humans have found a builder relic and turned it into a weapon? Shathker shook his head. Not found. Given. Gasps rippled through the room. If it was true, it meant the first builders or something connected to them had chosen humanity for a purpose. The question was why. On the far side of the galaxy, deep beneath the Nevada desert, Admiral Helena Vance stood in the heart of Black Horizon Command. The vast chamber stretched for miles, its walls lined with shimmering, ancient machinery that no human engineer could fully understand. Even the most advanced AI systems refused to interface directly with it, as if they knew they were beneath. It's noticed Dr. Elias Monroe, the chief scientist on the project, approached Vance. His voice hushed, despite the security. We've traced another signal, Admiral. Same origin point as the others. It's deeper this time. Not just a message, more like an invitation. Vance frowned. Invitation to where? Monroe swallowed, not where. When? At that moment, somewhere far beyond the rim of the galaxy, a network of dormant gates older than any star system flickered with pale light for the first time in untold millennia. The first builders had awakened, and they had chosen their champions. In the dead silence of Black Horizon Command, the air itself seemed to thicken. Every sensor, every display, every human and machine I turned toward the central chamber as the ancient machinery awoke. No alarms, no warnings, just a soft, resonant that sank into bones and blood. Admiral Helena Vance stood rigid. She'd been in enough battles to recognize the difference between noise and intention. This wasn't a machine making sound. This was a voice, speaking in a language no tongue had uttered in 1 billion years. Yet somehow, every human in the chamber understood it. You are ready. The words were not heard so much as felt, carved directly into the mind. Dr. Elias Monroe stumbled back, his breathing sharp. There. In my head, all of us. Every human on Earth, they're broadcasting to our species directly. Clenched her jaw. Identify yourself. The answer came like a tide rising from the abyss. We are the first makers. We forged the bones of your galaxy. We've placed suns in the dark. And when the others turned on us, we hid our final seed. On your world, a holographic vision burst into the room, an ancient war beyond imagination. Titans of metal and living light clashed between shattering stars. Planet-sized weapons screamed fire across 1,000,000 kilometers. And at the heart of it all, a single, fragile blue world, Earth, drifting in the darkness, untouched. We chose you, the voice continued. Not for strength, but for defiance. The others we made bent to fear. You did not. Your kind refuses chains. You laugh in the face of empires. And so, you will finish what we began. Monroe's face went pale. They didn't just choose us, they built us. Humanity exists because they designed us to resist. Before anyone could respond, the holographic stars shifted, showing the Galactic Council's fleets, massive, endless, blotting out the starlight moving toward Earth. Yet behind them, it's hidden in the cold black between galaxies, something far larger stirred. Shapes so vast, they made battleships look like dust motes. The Council is only a shadow of the true threat, the Makers said. When they fall, the great devourers will come. And for that, you will need our last gift. The chamber shook, not from impact, but from something phasing into existence. In the vast underground dock, reality itself split open, revealing a single vessel unlike anything humans or aliens had ever built. Its surface rippled with liquid metal. Stars seemed to bend around it. It looked less like a ship and more like a living thought. Vance felt the weight of history settle on her shoulders. She understood in that instant this wasn't just a weapon. It was a crown, and whoever commanded it would decide the fate of the galaxy. The voice faded, but one last whisper remained. A warning wrapped in steel. Take it, children of Earth, but know this: once you sit the throne of stars, you will never leave it alive. The sky above Earth burned. It wasn't fire, it was ships. Millions of them, a swarm so thick the sun itself was a faint glow through the metal storm. The Galactic Council's combined armadas had arrived, stretching from horizon to horizon and facing them. One ship, the Throne of Stars. It hovered above the shattered remains of the orbital ring, silent, almost unimpressive in size compared to the Council's capital dreadnoughts. But those who looked too long into its shifting silver hull felt vertigo, like staring into infinity. Inside the command chamber, Admiral Helena Vance stood at the central console, her hands hovering over controls that weren't controls at all, just streams of light and shadow that moved with her thoughts. Dr. Elias Monroe was beside her, pale but steady. "Council's hailing us again," Monroe said. "They want our unconditional surrender." Last warning. Vance didn't look away from the star map. Send them my laughter. Seconds later, the galaxy's most feared rulers heard the sound of a human laugh, low, sharp and fearless, echoing across every channel. Insult would be remembered for centuries. The Council's reply was immediate. Their fleet surged forward, unleashing a tidal wave of plasma, antimatter warheads, and gravity lances. The very fabric of space rippled under the onslaught. Vance moved her hand once. The Throne of Stars pulsed, and reality folded. The first wave of the Council's attack never reached Earth. It was swallowed whole, erased as if it had never existed. Dozens of enemy ships vanished with it, their crews erased from time in less than a second. The alien admirals hesitated, and in war, hesitation was death. Vance struck. Beams of light that weren't light at all lashed out, passing through enemy shields as though they were mist. Ships cracked apart without explosions, simply coming undone, their atoms unraveling like old thread. Monroe's voice was tight. "You're not just fighting them, you're rebuilding reality as you go. That's what this ship is," Vance said. "Not a weapon, law." The Council fleets regrouped, sacrificing their smaller craft to shield the dreadnoughts. Their heaviest weapons came on line star crushers, black hole projectors. Weapons meant to kill civilizations in seconds. Vance didn't flinch. She drove the throne straight into the heart of the Armada. The ship moved through dimensions, passing through solid metal, as if walking through air. Whole squadrons fired point blank and hit nothing but their own allies on the far side. But then, one of the dreadnoughts fired something different. Not a weapon of destruction, but a sphere of shimmering void. The moment it touched the thrones, hull, alarms screamed not from the ship, but from the makers themselves. The Devourers have seen you, their ancient voices thundered in her mind. The game is over. The war truly begins. From beyond the galaxy's edge, the darkness stirred. Colossal shapes moved, too vast for any mind to comprehend. Living shadows older than the makers, older than light itself, great Devourers. Had awoken? The Council fleets faltered, their weapons dimming as terror spread. For the first time in eons, every species in the Armada knew fear together. Vance opened a channel not to the Council, but to all of them. "This is Earth," she said, her voice calm as steel. "We told you we would never kneel. Now if you want to live, you will stand with us, 'cause what's coming won't care who ruled yesterday." For a heartbeat, there was silence. Then one by one, ship's council and human alike turned there. Guns toward the black horizon where the Devourers approached. The throne of stars surged forward, its hull burning with impossible light. Humanity's defiance had started as a laugh. Now, it was the galaxy's last hope.